More than most, the horror genre suffers from repeat viewings. Nothing compares to watching a scary film for the first time, not knowing where that next scare is coming from. The unknown is what creates tension and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Rewatching a horror film lets you peek behind the curtain, giving you unabashed knowledge that softens the experience. Enter Supermassive Games, they of Untitled Dawn fame, with the first of their dark pictures anthology, Man of Medan. Their aim is to make replaying a horror title engaging and rewarding, but how does one achieve this seemingly impossible task? For veterans of Until Dawn, the way Man of Medan plays will be eerily familiar. A group of young individuals are stuck in a terrible situation that becomes more horrific as the mysterious plot unravels. A mixture of exploration, decisions and QTEs shoulder the lion's share of the gameplay. The focus is again put on character relationships and the importance of your decisions, and some are a matter of life and death. As with Until Dawn, there are hints littered throughout to aid your decision making. The titular dark pictures show premonitions of future story beats that could come to pass. Bearings replace the butterfly effect in terms of key decisions you make, influencing outcomes of the future. The outcome of these warnings felt less certain in Man of Medan, and that only piqued my curiosity further. There's no categorization of premonitions here, so you can't differentiate between a good or a bad outcome. I'll admit to being fooled by a combination of bearings and premonitions that inadvertently killed my entire party on my first playthrough. The game had fed me a very clever set of lines that led me in completely the wrong direction, and you know what? It was incredibly satisfying. In Man of Medan, gone are the chilly mountains of Until Dawn, swapped instead for the briny depths and a mysterious freighter with a disturbing past. Unearthing these mysteries will be essential if you want to ever see dry land again. The choice of a dark ship to explore generates tension in a similar way to Layers of Fear 2. Narrow corridors restrict your field of vision and create an overbearing sense of claustrophobia. Fixed camera angles and the dark and dreary metallic furnishings create natural unease. Resident Evil-style movement systems slow down your exploration, restricting your freedom in just the right way to keep you on edge. The dead bodies strewn about the place don't exactly help either, actually. But a different locale only scratches the surface of what makes Man of Medan feel truly different from what we've seen elsewhere. Traditionally, in narrative-driven titles, the player's experience builds over time. There's a gradual crescendo of story beats, culminating in this climactic reveal. It creates a satisfying end to proceedings, but to work it requires a fairly linear story. Certain things have to be seen or experienced, and in a specific order to tell that intended tale. But Man of Medan chooses to throw that rulebook out of the nearest porthole. Here, the big reveal can be pieced together earlier on, maybe 2/3 through the story. Any blanks will be filled in by exposition from your remaining characters. It's then you realise this isn't a story Supermassive is looking to tell you, but one you're creating for yourself. The spooky setting is almost secondary to your unique experience, and from that very specific direction, all other threads of the game follow. Firstly, the choices you make can have a big difference in the outcome of events. And I actually mean a heck of a lot more than life or death of the cast. Sure, lives do hang in the balance, but what's more impressive is the sprawling narrative branches that are at play here. Entire gameplay sections between characters could be missed altogether if you make certain decisions. Not only that, but different characters can also take part in certain events depending on your choices. There's also very differing third act scenes depending on who is alive as your story nears the close. This all adds up to a narrative-driven title that can tell different stories every time you play. I tried the 3 main modes and played the story from beginning to end in each, and I experienced unique scenes and interactions in all 3. Strangely, despite having a script, Man of Medan manages to become a kind of water cooler game where people could be discussing what happened to them in the latest playthroughs and even comparing notes. The second major difference is the focus on multiple playthroughs, and more importantly on different ways to play. In addition to the standard single-player mode, there are 2 multiplayer modes. Shared Story is online, where you and a friend take control of different characters throughout the scenes in the story. Some scenes are played simultaneously, and you miss the action the other is playing. So you miss bits of the story, but therefore Shared Story is better after having played through the game in another mode. At least then you understand the main beats and the premise. Also, for some reason, this mode doesn't let you view any bearings, premonitions or relationship statuses of any of the characters. Sure, different online players may have unlocked different secrets, but it seems balmy that someone playing it blind, as my friend was, didn't have any idea how these mechanics existed at all. It will only be when they play it alone or in movie night mode that this new wave of information will become apparent. Movie night mode, then, is a local multiplayer mode where up to 5 of you divvy up the characters to play as. You share a single gamepad and you take control when your character is on screen. This mode is a slightly better experience than Shared Story because you see the whole story. It's only broken up by having to swap the controller. Movie night is much better played blind as a first playthrough as you can all experience the mystery together. If anything, the upper hand of extra knowledge is a curse in these situations. One noticeable gripe, however, is the tutorial section at the beginning is only played by one character. This means up to 4 newcomers could struggle with their first few QTEs, resulting in maybe unintentional outcomes. Man of Medan is shorter than Until Dawn, taking anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to finish, depending on your mode choice. And that length is just right considering the emphasis on replaying. But those hours feel tight, story-wise, with little filler. You're involved for the majority of that runtime, constantly affecting the future of the story. On a standard PS4, there are some noticeably laggy periods during cutscenes, particularly when there are a lot of characters on screen. That said, their infrequency means they don't detract from the overall experience, and, more importantly, these moments never impede a QTE or other plot-critical moment, which runs smoothly. Comparisons to Until Dawn were inevitable for Man of Medan, and totally justifiable. The numerous observations I've made between the two are not by accident. In many ways, Medan feels comfortably familiar to the 2015 hit, but then elevates the premise far beyond what we've accepted a horror title can be. The curator who weaves your stories is an excellent narrator with well-delivered, thought-provoking lines. He often serves to reinforce the variety of experiences you can encounter, and his inclusion in future titles is a welcome one. The scares don't last on future playthroughs, and they were never going to, but your horror experience certainly does. Searching out different scenes and secrets from the many decisions you can take is half the fun, and realising the different experiences you can have across the multiple modes makes Man of Medan feel like something almost brand new. And as the first in a series of games offering a new direction, it sets its stall out perfectly, whetting our appetite for what's yet to come.
Mayday! Mayday! Is anyone there? Hello, can anyone out there hear me?